What is preventing the European economy from growing is the ability of small and medium-sized enterprises to raise money to hire people to spend.
They can only find it through banks, and sometimes that's difficult because they're too small.
I think we've learned enough about too big to fail banks to understand that small enough to fail funds of various kinds in the shadow banking system can be better.
It's not a shortage of money issue. It is really the ability to transfer money from those with money to those who need it.
To ensure that the capital which is available in European markets flows towards those businesses.
They very need these small and medium-sized enterprises, so we can hopefully kickstart the European economy.
You will have the capital market that can provide resources, in times of crisis, and therefore provide more resilience to the system.
It might take some time for people to realize that there are other options other than putting their money in the bank.
We're not going to get growth in Europe until banks can extend more loans.
To scale up, to grow, to create new jobs across the whole of the European Union.
And the banks won't be able to extend more loans because they face all sorts of needed regulatory burden.
That prevents the smooth flow of capital between the different trading organisations, clearing organisations and settlement organisations in Europe.
Every single country in the Union has a different regime. That's an almost impossible impediment towards making that market really work.
Our rate of new business creation in Europe is significantly slower than in America.
At the moment, unfortunately, the answer for many start-up firms is to list in the US rather than list in Europe.
Some 300% of GDP is saved versus 70% in North America.
At the moment, there's a lot of vested interest in remaining a strong national player, and that's got to change.
To unleash that types of savings, to generate growth and employment, we're going to need tools to do that.
Some of those national institutions will be winners, and they will become pan-European champions.
You have to look at the largest companies in America and see how many of them are relatively new, rather than European companies which often have histories which go back over 100 years.
Banks will have the capacity to make new loans to companies which otherwise wouldn't have received those loans. And once those loans start to flow, then you see the job creation follow.
If Capital Markets Union works well, then smaller entrepreneurial companies will be able to access more capital at lower prices, generate more jobs, more growth.
It's good for Europe, it's good for European people to have a broad and deep market in capital instruments, and that will have beneficial social and economic consequences.
This is a project which can restore confidence in the EU.
Removing barriers to doing trade with each other helps everyone become more prosperous.